Right, guys, Hampshire Outdoors and Survival here. Mickey speaking. Right, just a quick one, just a quick stream. Nobody's going to be chatting on this because I've not really announced it. But however, this is just a quick one. Oh, I wanted to cover rabbits and more than that, rabbit survival, or using rabbits for survival in the wild. Look, there was research done years ago on an Arctic expedition where the people on the expedition took nothing but rabbits with them for their food source. Okay. And they starved to death. Simple as that. And ever since then, there has just been this thing that you can't survive on rabbit meat because you end up with protein starvation or rabbit starvation. Right. Let's get some facts right. Up until the 1950s, and in fact, what I'm going to do is a lot of reading here because I've done my research, I already had the knowledge, but I've done a bit of research and I've taken some notes and I thought, you know what, let's get this right. Up until the 1950s, historical fact, okay, up until the 1950s in the UK, rabbit was the main source of meat for the average family. It was cheap, it was easy to produce, and this had gone on for hundreds of years, okay? So why was there no rabbit starvation then? Okay, if this was your main source of meat, why do people not have rabbit starvation then? Well, it's quite simple, because it was a balanced diet. Because along with the pre-1950s diet, people ate a lot of butter, cheese. There was no margarine. Okay, that margarine came in with the war, right? So 1950s would have been margarine, but pre-war years, it would have been butter. There would have been milk, which would have been locally sourced, full fat. Okay, there would have been cheeses, which would have been full fat, not processed, as well as eating things like seasonal veg, so potatoes, carrots, cabbage, and so on. Most of the homes kept chickens. Okay, so according to my research and speaking to some of my relatives, a lot of people pre-1950s kept chickens. Even in the built-up areas and inner cities, people would keep a couple of hens and a couple of birds. Now, with chickens, think back to this practically. What people were doing at the time, they were keeping the chickens for the eggs. They did not eat the chickens. Right? The only time you'd eat a chicken is if you were either A, very desperate, or B, having a celebration. What people did do at the time, and isn't done today because of what people want, is the family would raise their chickens. Some of the eggs would become fertilized and hatched. Those that were hatched, they would keep the male birds. The male birds would be raised and they would go for meat. The hen birds would go back into the egg production line. As an hen become elderly, she would go into the pot as stew and so on, because obviously she was a tough old bird. Tough old bird. So anyhow, that's how people got by. So again, rabbit starvation has got very little to do with being, or it's very little to you as a problem all the time you're eating a balanced diet. Okay, we have to look at simple facts and simple equations. Okay, so the reason these guys didn't survive on rabbit is they were getting too much protein, and protein becomes a bit of an enemy to the body if you're not getting any fats or any carbohydrates. Okay, and a really protein rich diet, and people that do the really extreme keto diets where they have no fat, no carbs, right, tend to damage themselves. They create problems with the gallbladder, all sorts of other associated problems. Bodybuilders go on a very high protein diet. What protein does, it's a repair tissue or repair ingredient for your body. It contains nitrogen. It's one of the few sources of nitrogen that you can actually get for your body is through protein. And what happens when a bodybuilder's working? He's working the muscles. It creates micro tears in the muscles, and protein repairs muscles. Okay, so a high protein diet bulks those muscles up. You lose the body fat because, do excuse me, this is live. You lose the body fat because your body is then eating the body fat, trying to keep itself going, trying to give itself the fuel. So let's go into my old Bible that I used to use for training. So again, you have to excuse me for looking down. This is from my own survival Bible. Okay, some of you guys will see this when you come up to the camp if you want. You warm up to look at it. She comes from years of experience and also speaking to various experts. So under my section for food, it's quite simple. The average person at rest will use 70 calories per hour just to breathe and run their basic metabolism, blood circulation, etc. Exertive activities such as standing up, sitting down, and lighting a fire will add another 45 calories an hour. Okay, so on a day, taking it easy would require 2,040 calories. Major activity can burn up to 3,500 to 4,000 calories per day. Don't squander your energy. Keep calm, relax if food is scarce, right? Calories can be provided by carbohydrates, fat, and proteins. Here's a basic equation for you. All right? Carbohydrates will produce 1 gram, or from 1 gram, 4 calories. Fat from 1 gram produces 9 calories. And proteins from 1 gram produces 4 calories. Carbs are either sugars and starch, and they're easily absorbed into the body, requiring little water. It's important to make note of. Fats contain the same elements, but in high proportions, but in a form that requires water to process it and break it down. Protein is the only food element containing nitrogen essential for body repair, and is also contains amino acids, which your body will use. Okay, so what I want you to think to yourself, the reason that people have a problem with rabbit starvation is purely and simply this: you're taking in some of this pure protein, you're not fueling your body, you're not getting the fuel. Right? You're having to try and burn that protein, and protein is a crap fuel, excuse my language, it's a rubbish fuel source for the human body. So basically your body starts breaking itself down. Okay, if you have a high protein diet and then you're adding fats to it and you're adding carbohydrates to it, starches to it, it balances out. You're giving your body the fuel, you're making it able to work. A high protein diet, your body can't process the minerals, it can't break down the vitamins, it can't break down the materials it needs. All it's doing is repairing itself and literally trying to eat itself to keep itself going. Here's a quick breakdown for you on some meats, and we're just dealing with meats today, okay, and what you can get. So I'll go through domestic meats first, and I'm going to whiz through this because it's a lot of numbers and a lot of figures. Again, I'm dyslexic, so it's a bit of a pain. So if you look at something like beef, right, and I've broken this down: calories, protein, fat, okay. So you need the calorific count. The higher the calorific count, the better it is for you. You need a protein count. That repairs your body. That helps your body to keep functioning. Your body does require protein, but you also need a good fat content. Now, in meats, we're not going to talk about carbohydrates because obviously in meats, you don't get that much in the way of carbohydrates. Some meats have zero, and some meats will have a small amount of carbohydrate. Okay. So what we're looking at is what the total calories are and the protein to fat ratio. So when we go for domestic animals, and we're talking about an average 3-ounce portion here, and when we come to the fish, we're looking at an average fillet. Okay, so you just got to try and imagine what an average fillet is. Bloody if I know. Okay, but at least it gave me an equal ratio all the way through. So 3 ounces of beef is 204 calories. Obviously depends on the cut you're having. Protein in 3 ounces is 21 grams, and the fat is 12.5. Okay, fat's probably a little bit high there, but yeah, ask anybody that is living on a good quality steak diet like a ribeye, and that why ribeye is so popular. It's very good fat to protein count, and your body can process it and use it quite well. Pork, 252 calories. Not surprised, it's a bit higher. It's a fattier meat. Protein count is 22 grams of protein to 3 ounces, and it has a fat content of 17 grams, which threw me. I was like, that's lower than 18 grams. So it's an 18 gram fat content. So it's higher. It's 6 grams higher than beef. Lamb, 241 calories, 21 grams of protein, 17 grams of fat. Okay, a little bit less fat, and a little bit less on the protein. Good balance though, and you're getting a good calorie rating. Chicken and turkey both come out pretty much the same. Okay, they come in at 171 calories for 3-ounce portion. Comes in 23.5 grams of protein, 9 grams of fat. Okay, so that gives you your domestic animals. That's what you're buying at your supermarket, and so on, so on, so on. Now let's look at wild food. So we'll start with venison. Okay, so out of an average 3-ounce venison cut, you're going to get 159 calories, significantly lower than even chicken. Okay, you're going to get 22.5 grams of protein and only 7 grams of fat. Okay, so you're now going to need to look for a fat source or a starch or a carbohydrate source somewhere else to balance this up. Rabbit contains 117 calories for 3 ounces, 17.4 grams of protein, and only 4.7 grams of fat. That's why you have a rabbit starvation. Balance the diet out: meat, cheese, nuts, so on and so on. Carbohydrates. So you're looking at your roots, you're looking at vegetables, you're looking at tubers. You're looking at breads, you're looking at potatoes, okay, you're looking at starches, you're looking to balance that out. What you're losing in fat, fuel, you've got to replace. Okay, duck, which quite pleased me because I do like a bit of duck. That come in at 330 calories. Nice, that's up there. That come in at 18 grams of protein. That's come down a little bit. Nice. 24.8 grams of fat. Excellent. I can live on duck. I've let the wife know that. Pigeon, 144 calories, 28 grams of protein, 5.1 grams of fat. So pigeon again, you're going to need resources. Squirrel, and I do like a bit of squirrel. 147 grams or calories, 26 grams of protein, and only 4 grams of fat again. So you're going to have to find your other sources. And just to make it interesting, fish. This is going to upset a few of my mates. Carp. Okay, bear in mind, carp were originally brought to the UK to be used as a food source. Okay, so your average carp will contain 277 calories, 38 grams of which are protein, okay, and 12 grams of which are fat. That's pretty good. Okay, that's balancing up a little bit more. And just to throw it out there, pike. So pike, an average fillet is going to be 200 calories. It is 18 grams of protein, 10 grams of fat. So good survival food. Okay, you're getting that good balance there. So you could probably go on quite a high fish diet. And just to be a bit weird and throw it out there, crab. Okay, so 3-ounce portion of crab. All right, I don't know whether it's white or brown meat or mixed. So that's 97 calories, 19.5 grams of protein, and only 1.54 grams of fat. So there's your basic rundown on what you can do. We're not going to go deep into whys, wherefores, and whatfores, but your breakdown of your body functions is, so you remember, is your proteins, repair, maintenance, simple functions, and then you've got to have fuel on top of that. Okay, so if you want to look at it this way, this is the way I tend to stare at protein, right? Protein is my oil. It's the oil in my machine. Okay, carbohydrates, sugars, fats, that's my fuel. That's the fuel for my machine. Sugars tend to be high performance, but for a short race. Okay, so it's a quick burn, quick buzz, an initial energy burst, burns out very, very quickly. Carbohydrates, yeah, a more sustained run. more of your low lead, you know, your 4-star or 2-star as opposed to your 4-star, but it gives you a slower burn, a slower release of energy and keep you going. So one of the things I keep in my emergency kit as a great backup is I keep things like oats. I can make a porridge. I hate porridge, but in a survival situation, things like porridge, slow burn, it's good for you. That, I hope, answers some of the questions on rabbits, why fors, wherefores, and things. Just look back at history. You know, when people were saying to me for years about rabbit starvation, I've had people say to me, I wouldn't even eat rabbit in a survival situation because it causes starvation. Most game that you're going to get is going to cause a deficiency in fats. It hasn't got enough fat in it. It hasn't got enough carbs in it. So you need to produce those sources from elsewhere. And as I'm always saying to people, if it comes to a survival situation, fat is good. Where does an animal store all its excess vitamins, minerals, and energy for an emergency situation? In the fat. It stores it in the fat, and then that is in a system that is easy for a body to break down and collect what it needs from. Hence, a chunky lad like me could probably keep you going for a few weeks. Okay. So anyhow, that's it. I'm going to cut it there. It was only a short one. Hopefully, it's just a bit of an informative short one to chuck in today, because I'll be honest with you, it was bugging the thing out of me. And this is Resusci Dave. All right. Resusci Dave has been with me for a few years now, and he's what I use to teach sensitive people, shall we say, how to prepare game, how it works. Resusci Dave is hollow. To be honest with you, because some people get a bit sensitive, I've been asked to stuff him with sweets and give a demonstration on, you know, and yeah. It's the world we live in. But Resusci Dave, he's a mate of mine. He comes out with me quite regularly, Dave. Yes, he does. Anyhow, guys, as always, be safe. I hope that answers some of your questions and helps. Fire them into me. Anything you want to know, not a problem. Ask away. Don't take my advice as the law. Okay, I'm just an ordinary guy. I do my research. These facts are as I've worked them out. And please remember, it's not necessarily going to be perfect for you. Do your research, do your testing. When times are good, do your practice. When times are bad, turn to your skills. Okay. But it was just a bit of information. Look to history. The facts are all out there. Don't listen to people telling you can't survive on a rabbit. Rabbits are a great source of protein, a brilliant part of the diet. They're low in cholesterol. They're very, very good lean meats. If you're on a diet, you're on a keto diet, yeah, chuck some rabbit in your diet, but make sure and throw something in with it that's going to balance that out, or comes back to balance. Anyhow, I'm waffling now. So Dave's going to get into a bowl of food. I'm going to get into a cup of tea. As ever, love those you do, forgive those you don't. Peace, love, and light on you all. Have a great time. There's going to be another video out 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's a walk around a local millets. Just showing you some of the deals on. And if you're local to Farnborough at the moment, they've got some excellent deals on, some really good deals. So have a look at that, see what you think. Feed me back. I haven't yet done or even thought about planning this week's video. I'll get into that. The bush camp. Yeah. Just as a reminder to you guys, the bush camp is going to be 6th and 7th of May. I'm just going to go to my book here quick so that I get the facts right. Bush camp, 6th and 7th of May. Right. The meeting location will be for 10 p.m. in the morning. Hogs Back SO service station. Right. The address for this is the Hogs Back Seal, SEALE, Farnham in Surrey. The postcode is GU101EU. I'll repeat that. That's Golf Uniform 1 01 Echo uniform. Okay, we're going to meet at 10 p.m. Bring your own shelters, bring your own cook systems, bring your own scoff, bring a bit of water, right? And we'll have a great time. And we will be meeting up 10 p.m. on the Saturday morning, doing an overnighter in the woods, and then we will see how it goes on the Sunday if we want to drag it out. Love to see you all there, and be good. Mickey out. Bye.